Today I'm going to show you how to make a shawarma-inspired chicken that's flavorful but not hot. That should practically be our tagline. Thriving life, flavorful but not hot. Hi, I'm Melanie. Welcome back to Thriving Life, where we aim to inspire you with natural nutrition, freeze-dried food with feeling, and enjoying every day. Today I'm going to show you a simple recipe that I like to make. It's a shawarma-inspired chicken. That's sort of the flavor profile. It's a slow cooker recipe, and then I'll have it in the end. I usually have it as a salad, but as you can imagine, you could do whatever you want with it. Stuff it in a pita, have it with rice, just as a hot dish, lots of different things like that. All right, so first let's talk a little bit about timing. Usually when I make this recipe, I like to marinate it for at least 4 hours, but it's totally fine to marinate it overnight. And then it goes in the crock pot or slow cooker. I usually like to do it on low for 4 to 6 hours, but you can put it on high for 2 to 3 hours. So it depends on your timing. So for instance, today I'm going to get all the marinade ready and prepare it. Then I'm going to stick it in the fridge overnight, and tomorrow I'll put it in the slow cooker for dinner time. You can totally do it in one day if you start early. I've done it before where I start 9 o'clock in the morning, because you'll see it's relatively simple to prepare. Then I just get it in the fridge to marinate for the 4 hours, come back, put it on at 1 o'clock, and then it can go for the 4 or 5 hours, and then we'll eat at 5 or 6 o'clock. Right? So if I have the whole day and I'm diligent on my timing like that, then it's no problem. You know, if you're having busier or you want to plan ahead and marinate it longer overnight, that's great too. So shawarma is something that my family has enjoyed for a long time. Just eating out, like getting takeout from different places. Lots of places that are shawarma / donair places. So turns out donairs are more of an East Coast Canadian kind of take on it with a few changes. We can talk more about that another time. I'll just say this is inspired because I looked at several different shawarma chicken recipes, and then I lowered the spice and I took out a few of the hotter seasonings because my mom and I are really sensitive to spice. So I'm just going to make like a small batch today. So it's just a pound of chicken, which will really just be good for the two of us to have a couple salads. As you can imagine, you can totally up this recipe, scale it up to fit as much as will fit in your crock pot, and then you can like feed an army with it. You'll have options that way. Okay, let's get started on the marinade. So the base of this is something like a yogurt. So you could use Greek yogurt. In this case, I'm going to use coconut yogurt that I have here. It is a plain yogurt. You don't want any fun flavors for this recipe because we're going to add the fun flavor later with our spices and seasonings. You just want 1/3 cup of that. Most of the time I actually use the coconut-based, the plant-based kefir. Because that's got really good probiotics, and then when you cook it in the slow cooker, it turns into postbiotics and it's things that are really good for your gut. However, I used up the last of mine on that last week, so today I'm just going to use the coconut yogurt. That'll work out fine as a base as well. So we're just going to get everything into the bowl here. So while I'm working on the 2 tablespoons of lemon juice, let me just say, talking about the seasonings, this is going to be one of the very rare recipes that you'll see us do that have pepper. That's just because my mom and I are sensitive to pepper, and so to us, pepper tastes spicy, like pepper tastes hot. So if we're at restaurants and somebody will say like, no, this dish isn't spicy, and we might taste it and be like, my mouth is burning, that's usually because it just has black pepper, table pepper in it. For some reason, to us, we're really sensitive. That tastes really spicy. Consequently, most recipes, I leave it out. So pretty much, as you may know, any recipe is like seasoned with salt and pepper to taste. The majority of the time, I just do salt, and that's what I'll do. But you can pretty much assume that anywhere that I use salt, if you would also use pepper, you could also do pepper, and it would be salt and pepper. I'm just not going to do that a ton, and I lower the amount of pepper for us, just like I lower the amount of spice. If you're a person who likes spicy, I assume that you can up the spice and the heat in the recipe, and you know what you like in that sense. It's a lot harder, I find, to take recipes and know how much the other way to scale down the spice for what's going to be specifically for my palate. So this is what I'm showing you. This is the sort of sensitive, lower spice version. That's not going to have a lot of heat or anything. You feel free to do what you want. So we're going to add some more seasonings into this, but overall it's just going to make the chicken flavorful but not hot. The chicken is not hot, and not every chicken needs to be hot. The chicken is not trying to be hot. The chicken knows it's not hot, so it doesn't need anyone to point out that it's not hot. And not every chicken can be hot. I mean, some chicken just has to settle for trying to be cute. And I think people should ask themselves whether they really want a boring one-note chicken that's just hot, or they want a cute chicken with a great personality. Because this chicken has a great personality, okay? But back to the marinade. Back to the marinade. I'm going to do 1.5 teaspoons of our freeze-dried garlic. Freeze-dried garlic is a great option. It is just garlic that has the moisture taken out of it. As you can see, it's already chopped up small. It's really, I find it very much of a hassle to use a garlic press or to clean a garlic press. I find if I'm handling garlic bulbs, even though I really like garlic in recipes, but what I don't like is that when I have to handle garlic myself, it seems like no matter how much I wash my hands afterwards, I can still smell the garlic on my hands afterwards, even sometimes for days later. It's like it gets under my fingernails or it gets into my pores or something. I don't quite know. So I am much happier using our freeze-dried garlic. This is freeze-dried garlic from Ready Harvest. That's the brand from a company called Thrivalist. You'll see, like, that's how it comes in the can. I just find that I did get this out for you today. I don't need something that size every single time I go to use it, so I do have it in a jar. It also comes in cans this size, but we just don't have one yet. We ordered one. We have the big one from before they had this size. Now in the future it will be coming in this size. But still, if you like a lot of garlic and you want to get the larger size and then, do something like this, like a mason jar, or put it in a smaller container, that works too. So I've got the 1.5 teaspoons of garlic. Then I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of paprika. That's going to give it really nice color and flavor. I'm going to do 2 teaspoons of cumin. Rachel Ray used to say that cumin adds smoke but not heat. And so I do find cumin is okay. I mean, I'm also not doing too much. If you have certain sensitivities, I would say, you can try and adjust the seasonings in this to your taste as well. That might have been too much. Nope, that was 2 teaspoons of cumin. Woo! Almost did too much pepper though. That would have been bad for us. So we're just doing 1/2 teaspoon of pepper, but then I'm doing 1 teaspoon of salt. So as you can probably tell, and like I said before, I think technically most of the original recipes that I saw called for the equal amounts of salt and pepper, but I did 1/2 amount of pepper because of how we like it. Feel free to, up this if your palate can tolerate a little bit more than ours. I'm adding in some turmeric. Turmeric is really great for helping with inflammation. It's a really great ingredient. It's very earthy, so it can be kind of hard to sneak into things. This is a great recipe to add it in, and you don't really taste it and taste turmeric. At least nobody in my family has noticed. But you do, get the great benefits from getting some turmeric into your diet. And I'm going to do 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon. So another one of those warming spices, but as I'm sure you know, cinnamon is not really hot. Cinnamon is great. I love cinnamon in lots of different things. Okay. So then I'm just going to give this a stir. As you see, I just put all the ingredients in this same bowl. And I'm just going to stir it up for the marinade. I do like to marinate my chicken, or in this case, we had a couple of turkey breasts, so I'm just going to use that to show you. But you just want like a boneless, skinless chicken breast or thigh. I'm partial to white meat, so I usually use breast meat, but if you like thighs, go for it. Chicken or turkey, I pretty much use them interchangeably. It just so happened that the turkey was on sale, so that's what I had this week instead of chicken. And we're going to do onion. Now, I love freeze-dried onions. These are probably one of my favorite products. Way back in the day, when I was learning to cook growing up, I used to leave onions out of recipes because of how much I hate chopping onions. It is just terrible and awful. I don't think anybody should ever chop onions. So let me tell you today, the secret to never chopping onions, and it's not that you get someone else in your household to do it, it's that you let the company, the freeze dryers, do it. So this freeze-dried onion just has the moisture taken out of it. It's already chopped. So now I can just throw it into recipes and not have to do any of the chopping myself. I love it. This is one of the things that I would be saddest if it went away. I mean, really, my family would be too, because I would just stop putting onions in things because of how much I hate chopping onions. So this is a great convenience product for me. I kind of can't say it enough how I feel like I never want to chop onions again. And I feel like because there's freeze-dried onions like this, I probably never will have to chop onions again. I mean, I don't, like they say, knock on wood. I don't want anything to happen to it. So now, I'm still not a person who's into like a ton of onion in the recipes, so I'm only going to do half a cup for this amount of chicken. Again, just like the spice, if you're the kind of person who knows that you love onions and can't get enough of them, go ahead, throw, even maybe double that, do a cup of onions instead, right? Feel free to go wild. So I'm just going to stir these into the marinade, and there's going to be enough moisture in the marinade to refresh those onions. As it goes in, that's going to be fine. And now I'm just going to add in my turkey breasts. I prefer to marinate in a bowl because I find that, like, you could do it in a plastic bag, but I find that tomorrow when I go to take it out of the plastic bag, it feels like there's a lot of marinade being left behind in the bag. Like, it's really hard to scrape out. Compared to in the bowl, I can use like a spatula and feel like I really get in there and get all the sauce out and into the crock pot. Because this whole thing, marinade included, is going to go into the slow cooker. So, I'm just going to kind of turn it over a few times, mix it up, make sure that the turkey is getting coated with the marinade in there. Good. As I say, that's just my preference to do the bowl so I don't feel like any of the marinade part, all the seasonings that I put in there is going to waste. But of course you have to do what you have space for in the fridge. I know sometimes refrigerator space is at a premium, and if a bag maybe you can fit into a weird place compared to a bowl. Okay, so I'm going to cover this and put it in the fridge till tomorrow. And the plan is to come back in video showing you what it looks like to get it into the slow cooker and set that up, and then also show you what it looks like when it's done. Hi, welcome back. I have my bowl that's been marinating in the fridge since yesterday. Turkey or chicken, the marinade, the onions and all, it all just goes into the crock pot. Love having 2 slow cookers. I'm using my mini one just to show you, since it's a small amount. Right, just to show you the recipe. That all just goes in there, all the goodness from the bowl. Lid on. I'm going to put it on low like that for 4 to 6 hours. It should be ready at dinner time. If you were in a rush, you could also put it on high for 2 to 3 hours. In this case, I like to do it low and slow if I have the time, and I do. So I'll come back later to show you what it looks like when it's done. Alright, we're here to finish up the shawarma-inspired chicken. So Mom's just going to cut it up. Now, normally when we make this recipe, it calls for the 4 to 6 hours in the crock pot on low, which is 2 to 3 on high, as we talked about the other day. And then you would, sorry, the dog. And then you would take it out, chop it all up, and put it back in the crock pot for 15 minutes with the sauce and the onions and all together, just to kind of let the flavors meld a little bit more once the chicken is chopped up. Make sure it's all nice and juicy and saucy. So unfortunately I had an appointment that ran long yesterday, which meant getting it in the crock pot was late, which meant by the time it was ready that we ate dinner before it was ready, okay? So when it was done, I just took it out, stuck it in the fridge, and then today we're taking it out so it's actually cold, but that's going to be fine because once we chop it up, it's going back in the crock pot for the 15 minutes anyway. So this will warm it up for us at the same time. And you don't have to eat it warm. We've certainly done it the other way as well, that we've done all the steps and then just stuck it in the fridge for another day. So it is a great sort of prepare ahead type recipe in that sense as well. But anyway, it's pretty simple. So at any which way that you work, you can do it all in one day. You can do it over the 2 days like I would suggest, or you can do it over the 3 days if that's what happens. Anyway, we're just going to get that back in, and then in our next video we'll show you how we like to prepare it, because at this point it's just a flavorful chicken. So you can do whatever you like with it. If you're into chicken that's not spicy and you just want the flavor, you can throw it on salads, you can throw it on pasta, you could put it in a pita or wrap or make something like that with it. But we're going to show you our favorite way to eat it as a salad, and then we're also going to show you how we make the accompanying dressing or sauce. So we'll show you that next time. Thanks for watching, and if this recipe wasn't to your taste, then we hope you like the next one. Instead, go nuts, go wild. All right, so we will show you that next time. Yep.